This is a Corkboard podcast.
Welcome to Classics Catch Up, everyone. The show where a former fundamentalist and film school failure finally finds the time to watch himself some unforgettable films. I'm your host, Jay Muskrat, joined today by a small other group of hosts, a host of friends.
Hi.
Hi, friends.
Hi.
I didn't tell you we were starting. I just rolled right into it. So, what
Yep.
are we watching today?
A movie.
Indeed.
Okay. And who are
Scary
we?
movie.
A movie that fits the time.
It's Halloween.
Woo!
This is Halloween,
This
Halloween,
is
Halloween.
No, that'd be
This
better.
is
Halloween.
That arguably would be better, but that's what we're here to find out,
But we've
right?
all seen that one.
Yeah, but I
true.
don't remember most of it. I think I
Well,
saw it
whose
back
fault
in the
is that?
90s.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
So you
in
haven't
so
had
long.
any goth
Oh.
or emo girlfriends?
Right.
Alternative.
He hasn't
I-
he hasn't
would
had
need
any
more
goth or
girlfriends.
I wasn't gonna go that way. I was just gonna say you haven't had any that have made it to the holiday season, which is a
True.
fair. That's
That
a
is
fair,
accurate.
right? Yeah, you get into it in the summer, and then by
No.
September, it's like, ooh, yikes! We're really. I don't know, Kaylin. It's just that my work schedule at school this semester
It's
is
been really hard.
No, so we're gonna watch Halloween. I know pretty much everything about Halloween. I'm pretty sure it's about a lady named Lindsay Lohan who goes to a barn and is attacked by a guy in a Mike Myers mask. Now, for more context, I believe that it is her brother and he's sad about his sisters dying, but I think all of that doesn't come into play in this one. This is literally just Lindsay Lohan in a house being attacked by a guy in a mask and killing a bunch of other people. It's the original slasher, essentially, and has been ripped off and
Did you
parodied.
mean to say Lindsay Lohan multiple times now?
Yes, I think that was part of the joke.
And not Jamie Lee Curtis?
It's not. That's so confusing. Okay, wait. So in Freaky Friday, which one is the mom? So
Freaky
yeah.
or freakier?
So Jamie Lee Curtis is running around trying to not get murdered by a guy who may or may not be her dead brother, I think. But also, I don't think that comes in this movie. I think this is all just Jamie Lee Curtis in a house getting chased by a murderer. I don't think that there's a single well, okay, let me say this. I don't think that there's a single thing in this movie that I have not seen done by someone else. But that's because this did it first and did it well. So, as always, excited to see the original masterpiece. I just don't know that I'm going to be that interested in the result. I don't know. What do you guys think?
So everything you've said is
Wait,
more.
who are you?
Well, I'm Kaylin, as some of you may know from other episodes.
Actually,
and-
oddly, this is the first episode that you're going to be
ever. No, but that's more information than I knew about it. And I'm pretty sure I've technically seen all of it once in the background, where I don't know what I was doing. If it was somebody else's Halloween
Probably
party,
a Halloween party.
It
That's
could've
how
been
I saw some
probably the
bits
same
of
one.
like that would make sense.
other movies.
But it could
Yeah.
have been just somebody playing a movie while we did Warcraft or something. So I have like vague memories of maybe 5 individual scenes throughout the entire thing, and I don't know anything. I don't even remember who dies.
People die in this movie?
I mean, it's some kind of slasher, but I don't remember
I think
what the
everyone
body
dies
count
except
is.
for Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm pretty sure.
Who is everyone?
I don't know. I
Exactly.
don't really know because the whole movie, like, they are not characters. That's
Yeah, they're just
okay, not to
bodies.
go on this rant,
Bodies
but this is
dropping.
why I generally don't care for slashers. They only
'Cause if we're
unless there's
dropping
like
bodies.
unless there's just like a good hook that's more than just, oh, this is a slasher film. If
Captain
there's a
Hook.
good
Good hooker.
yeah, I see it. Like if it's Captain Hook, I don't know. If it's a play on the slasher genre, then I'm like, yeah, I'm here for it. Cool. But as just like a pure classic slasher, I'm like, the characters are all shadows and cardboard cutouts. And if there's character development, it's not until the third or fourth movie because they've made it through this stuff. And like, same can kind of be said for Saw. And I mean, I don't know, just a lot of horror movies, which is why I don't really
I
gravitate
mean,
towards them that much.
cardboard cutouts, but they're the archetypes, if you will, from
Right,
a
sure.
much more fun movie, Cabin in the Woods.
Well, yeah, and I suppose it's fair that like most like creature horror films, like Deep Blue Sea, like all of those are really just archetypes with very little development too. But I guess I just enjoy that more. But I don't know. Put a shark in a Mike Myers mask, a hyper intelligent shark in a Mike
There
Myers
we
mask, and
go.
then put it on a spaceship, and that's like one of my favorite movies. Is what I'm saying. Like it's all about the elements at play. Babe, you got anything else?
Oh, hi, I'm here. I'm Liz. Up
I'd apologize,
until
but I can clearly see that you've been playing Neopets this whole time.
well, listen, they were hungry. Uh up until about how long have we been recording this? 6 minutes. Okay, up until about 10 minutes ago, I thought this was the one with the creepy little child in the like pumpkin mask. It's not.
I don't even know what that is.
That's Trick or Treat.
What is Trick or Treat?
Oh, Trick or
It's a
Treat.
movie. And
Yeah.
I guess it's not a pumpkin mask. It's like a little burlap sack
I
head.
believe it's like a scarecrow mask.
Yeah, but that's
Okay.
not this.
Hmm.
This apparently stars Michael Myers. This is Mike Myers.
No, the guy from Halloween.
Oh,
You mean Jason?
you mean Jason. So that's about all I know about this, and I've heard it's fantastic. All my spooky friends love it. I'm predicting 7 out of 10 bloody stabbing knives.
Kaylin, what do you think? What's your rating gonna be?
Oh, I was just thinking how interesting it would be if the other Mike Myers was involved in some way.
You're
Yeah.
gonna die now,
There we go.
baby.
Yes.
There have
um,
definitely been deep fakes of this movie with Mike Myers as Austin Powers. Like I've seen clips from this movie
nice.
with that done.
I guess a 6 or 7 out of
A begrudging 6.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stabbing bloody knives.
Yeah.
Thank you. You have to give it the appropriate rating, or like, what's the point?
I have to be honest with myself and try and address it as from a point of view sort of that I went into with The Thing, whereas like this is
Uh, awesome.
well, see, here's the thing that going into The Thing, I was like, okay, I've seen this a billion times. This
Oh,
this movie has nothing for me because I've seen every ripoff of this already. And that's how I feel about Halloween. That's how I feel a lot about a lot of these movies, which is why a lot of them have never bothered to be watched because I'm like, I've seen the episode of whatever where they did this in
yeah.
45 minutes. But Halloween clearly has endured. It spawned a ton of sequels and a
There's
huge
still
fan
going on, I
base.
think, maybe.
So yeah. And I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is great. I love her in everything I've ever seen her in. She was even good in Borderlands, believe it or not. She was. She was a lot
I
of
need to
fun.
watch that one still.
She is fun as Tana. She's got big old goggles. She's kind of out
I thought
there,
you were about to say big ol' something else.
Kinda out there. She's fucking nuts in that
She's
movie.
super nuts. Yeah. And that's not a great movie, but it's an enjoyable watch. So I mean, I at least
Hey,
expect that out of here.
listen.
I mean, we can't get into whether Borderlands was a good movie or not, but the box office
Boy,
said
was
it
it hitting the
wasn't.
holler. Mostly.
I was so there until the wings.
Yep.
What was okay? But anyway,
Spoiler. No.
yeah, spoilers. So that said, I think it's just going to be full of really good horror special effects and really well done jump scares and really effectively done creepy moments. So I'm excited to see those done and make sure both of you are paying attention so that we're giving it the credit it deserves. That said, I just don't expect to really enjoy it more than like a 5 or a 6
Yeah.
because I just don't know that it I think it's exactly a perfect example of a movie from this list where it's just like this doesn't work now because we've seen it done so many other times. And that doesn't mean that they did anything wrong in the original. It's just like does it hold up? No. Was it good for the time? Yes. So I don't know. That's what I expect to think about it. But I've been pleasantly surprised. I thought the thing was going to be kind of stale and it was a fucking
You enjoyed it a
masterpiece. I
lot. Yeah.
love the thing. And I mean, that's way more my genre. So we'll see. So 5, 7, and
Stabbing bloody
6. Or
knives.
yeah, 5,
We're just
7, and
like
6.
right there in the middle upper
All
section.
right, we're floating right in the middle of just like a lukewarm pool of
Blood.
passive interest.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, you guys are rocking down the road. This big, like half a dome of green energy around the sand thrasher that's just like guarded by dudes on turrets and like this freaking like badass chick who's got this big repeater.
Dude, I wouldn't fuck with us at this point.
Yeah, definitely not.
Like, honestly, there are easier targets.
Yeah,
Lavender.
we're like Mad Max Fury Roading right now.
Pretty hardcore, yeah. Lavender
Harold
slash
is totally
scalper.
Charlize Theron.
No, TT is Charlize Theron.
Droughtland is a dice-governed improv adventure show set in an original diesel punk wasteland full of dinosaurs, witch cults, murder, and madmen. Featuring immersive sound design, lovingly crafted custom sound effects, and a carefully trimmed down listening experience, Droughtland offers an engaging, fast-paced adventure in a sprawling world sure to be loved by fans of actual plays and traditional audio adventures alike. Listen now wherever you catch your pods.
Welcome back to Classics Catch Up, the show where a former fundamentalist and film school failure finally finds the time to watch himself some unforgettable films. Joined, as always, by a host, a co-host, another host. I'm your host, Jay Muskrat, joined, as always, by another host, a host of friends.
Host of friends.
Hey, listen, just like getting off of any drug, there's going to be a little bit of latency error there, and my drug was my notebook of my intro, so we're getting clean off of that notes pad in my phone.
Yeah.
Okay,
Indeed.
let's get to it, guys. I don't think I've ever seen the group less interested in talking about a movie, honestly, so we're going to jump right into the 60-second summary with Liz.
I had a good time watching the movie. It just,
So first, I have real strong opinions that have now, because we took a day. Everybody, just gonna let you know, we took a day, went about our day, worked our jobs, lived our lives, and then
I went to the aquarium.
recongregated. And the number one aquarium in the U.S.
According
Somehow.
to it.
Super landlocked.
2019, 2020, 2021, 2023, and 2024. I think they missed that one year.
Yeah.
It really does make the sign a lot more complicated when you can't just do a dash.
Yeah.
Like
Gotta put
that's
space.
it's really tough. Yeah, right. Anyway, not to get into that. 60-second summary, because I gotta dig in.
Doxing yourselves.
I gotta dig into that. So all right. We're gearing up. I do have a timer. And I'm gonna shine in your face a couple times so you know how very, very, very short 60 seconds actually is. So,
It's so short.
take us from the top as if we've never watched the masterpiece that is Halloween. Go.
We pan in on spooky stuff happening in a spooky little town. A car window breaks via someone's hand, which is definitely not strong enough to break a whole car window. We meet Jamie Lee Curtis and her garbage friends. The small child that she is babysitting is being picked on, and they say that this house across the street is haunted by a crazy person. Turns out that it is. The crazy person is actually alive and probably killed his mom, except I have a note here that says, did he kill his mom? The murderer seemed much taller. But he killed his mom, and then he went to jail as a child. And then a lot of spooky stuff happened, and now all these girls that have to babysit on Halloween, after the kids have gone trick-or-treating, which we never actually get to see, all these three friends are now babysitting on Halloween, and they are going to get attacked in a bunch of different ways, except the only one that really gets attacked is Jamie Lee Curtis. No, I guess her friend does too. But then Jamie kicks his ass multiple times, including with a hanger and with a knitting needle, and then he still somehow gets away, and therefore we have 18 more movies.
Okay, that's the first one we've ever gotten through the 60-second summary in 60 seconds, and that is exactly my point that I'm about to make here, okay? All right, listen, I'm about to say a
You
bunch
can't
of
even
stuff.
tell me that I missed anything,
No, you
really.
didn't. That was glorious. So it's real quick.
You
before-
missed a
I'm
couple
fired
things
up,
because you
so
said
before we
them
get
wrong,
into
but
it-
that's beside the
Do
point.
you want to do it next time, Kaylin?
Maybe.
Kaylin?
I don't know, but that was his sister at the beginning.
That's true. That
How do
you
we
were
know
wrong.
that?
No,
It's sad.
because his parents leave and
Yeah,
they
his
say
parents
something like
catch him,
very
like
briefly.
Okay,
There's some
sorry
very
that I
passive
said he
dialogue.
murdered his mom, not his sister.
That is very important.
My
Domestic
And
statement
here's
violence.
still
why.
stands. He was so tall. The
Yeah, no,
murderer
So,
was so
agree.
tall.
so
I think
okay.
it was like the sister's boyfriend, and
He's
I'm
like
sure
a
we're
little
gonna find that out
8-year-old
in
Two
like the
things
kid.
next
about that.
movie.
Two things about that. One is going to spoil Halloween 2. Mike
Oh
Mike Myers is Laurie's brother. So he was killing their older sister.
no!
He was sent away. They changed their name or something. I don't know.
What? I didn't realize that. How the
Lori.
fuck do we
Yeah.
get around to that? How old was she when it happened?
The baby, I think.
A ba
She
Oh.
wasn't. If there was a baby on was there a baby when they left?
I don't
I didn't even
know.
I don't
notice.
know, just if
If
that's
there
how we're gonna
was,
tie it in.
yeah, but either way, she was not around for the death of her older sister.
Sure.
That happened, and then I guess she was born later. The second one apparently gets into it, and then it isn't really a big part of the other 57 movies because they all do
Sure.
different spin-offs, and it's just,
How
oh
many
no,
are
creepy
there?
guy murdering people. Which brings me to, oh, and then the other thing I was going to say about that, babe, is that the murderer was really tall at the beginning because that was John Carpenter's girlfriend who was the producer of the film. And
Oh.
she did that part. Also, very, very, very big part of the co-writer, co-creator, huge part of the
Yeah.
project. It was done as
Yeah,
this
because
like
he's still
passion
involved in a
project.
bunch of the later ones. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I believe she went on to direct one of them. I'll take a second to look at her filmography here in a second. I want to give her the respect that she is due. But that said, I'm about to say a bunch of stuff that is going to make a bunch of horror fans mad. And if at any point you hear like a kathuda smash, that's because Becca has tore through the wall to come and
It's
kick my
snarling.
ass. Is this a very well-made movie? Yes. Is this worth catching up on in 2025?
I
Fuck
don't
no.
think so.
Absolutely not. No, it
Here's
is
if
not.
you're planning on watching the entire series.
I mean, I've thought about it, and I just don't know that I can. So first off, it is well known at this point, I think, by anyone who's listening to the show. I'm not really a big fan of slashers. I think they're easily the easiest movie to make. They are low budget mavens. That's why there's a trillion of them out there, because all you need is a cool mask. That's straight it. You need a cool mask. You need a small cast of characters. And if someone has to leave production halfway through,
Just kill him off.
you just kill them the fuck off. It's so easy, which brings me to my first point here. Okay, probably anyone listening to this knows at least a little bit about the production of Halloween. Kind of passion project, but John Carpenter took it on as the babysitter murders, kind of vaguely based on like a true story. Vaguely, he took it on then and was like, I would like to do creative control, so kind of took it in a different direction. They decided to place it at Halloween for like good, just because it was like good for production. It was like just this is a good visual, basically.
Mhm.
So they lean all into that. Change the name from Babysitter Murders to
The
Halloween.
Babysitter Club?
I know, right? John Carpenter and his girlfriend and a bunch of other hardworking individuals turned it into reality on essentially a micro budget, about $300,000. And then John Carpenter scored it himself in about 3 days. He
Oh,
also,
that explains some stuff.
what'd you say?
So that explains some stuff.
Yep. It sure does. He also was not really I mean, he had composed Assault on Precinct 13, the score for Assault on Precinct 13,
Okay.
which is actually why the dude that played the doctor signed on to the film. We'll get back into that later, probably. His daughter was a fan of Assault on Precinct 13. She asked him to do the film. That's why he did it.
Okay.
His role was originally offered to, anyone look this up?
Nope.
Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee later said turning it down was the biggest mistake of his career. So
Facts.
clearly, one of the three of us did research on this film. Okay,
I've had
I
an
was busy
incredibly
today.
busy day.
here's my thing on it. When your margin, when your reach is limited, your opportunity for failure is also limited. And I know for sure that what I'm about to say is colored from my own personal experience of having basically bankrupted us and like cost us our house making independent film and trying to make these things work and these things happen, and having met all of these sidetracks, but that was entirely self-funded too. I didn't even have a $300,000 budget or whatever he had.
You had $300.
But two things this film really makes me think of. One is timing is everything. Bill Gates would not be who he is if someone else had done what he did just a little bit before. And we know, if there's one thing we know about humanity, it is that it is not, I don't know, maybe we don't know. There's a lot of people that think that it is this, one in a million shining star, but I think it's the hamburger, right? Like, we don't know who built the hamburger, or came up with the hamburger, because all these different fucking nations were like, hey, I made the hamburger first. Italy did, China did, India did. All these different cultures claim to have invented the hamburger.
Beamed hams.
If I'm saying the wrong food, then I'm sorry. Maybe I'm talking out my ass, but the idea stands whether that food, whether I'm thinking of a different food, whatever.
No, you are. It just I
But
know
the
where the real
same
hamburger came
thing applies to this technology factor with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and whatnot. Guess what? If I'd had a little bit of a budget and a little bit of,
from. Small
you
loan of
know,
$1,000,000.
well, not even getting into that is I'm not trying to make it a whole classist thing because that is a factor. But it's also like you can't reinvent the wheel. If someone comes along and invents the wheel and then you have the idea for the wheel 6 months later, congratulations, you're nobody. And John Carpenter did a great job making this film. But I'm just saying, when your reach is kind of minimal, the margin for failure is not that great. And yeah, you could have maybe wasted $300,000 and made a movie no one cares about and just another slasher film. But also, when you set out to make a slasher film, which is inherently the least complicated, the least of everything.
You don't even have to use that much thought.
It's not difficult, and a lot of what he did was stolen from Hitchcock. I don't wanna say stolen because, listen, all artists steal, and every story has been told, and every story is a conglomeration of stories told before it, and one of the big reasons why I will say you don't think you need to catch up on this movie is because this story has been told a billion times since then, a lot of the time to greater effect, in my opinion. Now, do we then have to credit Halloween for being the first to do it well? Yes, absolutely. And hats off to John and insert name of girlfriend here because I definitely meant to remember it. But if it weren't them, someone else would have done this 2 years later. All they did was like, "Hey, let's update Hitchcock a little. We're gonna find a scary mask. We're gonna make this work." And like, congratulations that you guys were the ones that made it work. Awesome. But that doesn't speak to lightning in a bottle to me. It's just like, all right, you were guys that were the ones that got there first,
Yeah, you
basically.
managed to do it
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, it was all these things of like, oh, we can afford.
Managed to do it first and be recognized for it.
Yes, also true.
Because there
Yeah.
were I haven't really done the research, but I mean, this isn't by any means the first slasher.
No. And a lot of what he, like I said, a lot of what he did
Right,
was
'cause
pulled from Hitchcock
while we were watching it, we even talked about Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, right, being in
and
Yeah.
Psycho.
Older
Yeah.
in Psycho and stuff like
Well,
that.
and I even pointed out while we were talking, I was like that the voyeuristic aspects of the shots from the back of the seats is great, but like it is just Hitchcock. That's just Hitchcock. And yes, he took Hitchcock's greatest hits and then slap them on this new cool layer of paint, which at the time was like the post-Vietnam War, like America of like, well, we can show tits on screen now and like we can show a little bit of blood and things like that and kind of updated it and grounded it in a suburban setting, which goes a long way. But I don't think that this is I just think it's really overrated, is what it comes down to. Is I think it's just really overrated. Overrated. Is it done well? Yes. Is it worth cashing up on now? No, I don't think so. I'll take. I yield the remainder of my time to one of you guys. There's a giant chunk of waveform looking me in the face, being like, "You've been talking for 10 minutes," but I just consumed like 3 hours straight of people being like, "Halloween is the best fucking movie in the whole just ah," and I'm like, "Yeah, listen, John Carpenter is a master. He has done a number of fantastic films. Is this the most overrated movie we may have featured on the show yet? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
2001: A Space Odyssey, you had all of those amazing miniatures. You had things that were never ever done on screen
Yeah.
before, the like spinning
Some of the
sets, these
space scenes,
all of
yeah.
this shit. And I mean, in this, you just needed a couple of houses and a $1.50 Captain Kirk mask.
It was a Captain Kirk mask, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it
Did they
was.
just spray paint it white or what did
No,
they
they
do?
like stretched it and like made
Oh.
it bloated, basically.
No, they spray painted it white. They cut the eye holes to be a little bit bigger. They teased and dyed the hair.
Yeah.
So I have a couple notes. Jamie Lee Curtis, your friends fucking suck.
Yes.
Uh, also that the bullies in this town are bad at being bullies.
Absolutely.
I
So
believe there is a moment at the beginning of the movie where children surround another child and just repeatedly say, "He's gonna get you. He's gonna get."
yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the
They
fuck
were
up.
developing the whole boogeyman thing there, I guess.
Yeah, definitely pre-posing the boogeyman thing, but like they had a lot less to work with in the 70s.
So that exact scene though, I could have sworn I'd seen it somewhere else. In that exact like shape of school, kids walking in that direction and somebody getting like teased or beat up or something, and I cannot figure out what it was. It may have been multiple things. I almost think might have been Malcolm in the Middle or something, but that
Involves children and a school and Dewey.
yeah.
So
Uh back to this friend sucking though.
the
Annie
friends
especially.
suck. Okay, well, I have like a small series of notes on Annie. Um, it starts with Annie looks like Mona Lisa. Then I like Annie. Then totally naked. Like, come on, Annie. Did we need to get completely naked
Why did she not wear a bra
to
I
change
to
your
need a
clothes
robe or your dad's
or
shirt.
your
yeah.
dad's shirt?
Didn't wear a bra to the babysitting night? I don't
No,
know. Just
no. Well,
seems
first of all, no
odd.
one wore a bra in the 70s. Please get
Oh,
over
okay.
it.
Sorry, you're right. I don't know the 70s very well.
Yeah,
Um,
that is a big thing. Like this was a post-Vietnam era film where we're looking at like the reemergence of the idea of hippie culture being able to like bleed into the mainstream after Vietnam. So these are like teenagers, kind of teenagers post-COVID, like, yay, we can be crazy again and nothing matters. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Totally naked. Then poor Lester. I hate Annie now because she treats the dog like shit. And then I said Jeb the dog, which Kaylin informed me is not Jeb the dog
Okay, well,
featured in
now
the
you've cracked it and we can hear that hissing sound. So I guess it's before it bursts out, we better take a second and
You.
It's the Animal Cruelty Hour.
All right, so the animal cruelty hour, it's gonna be like 3 minutes max. Um,
It's a
the
long
dog
Animal
in this
Cruelty Hour.
one, well, one of the 2 dogs in this one is Lester. Um, he gets killed like on screen in a kind of weird looking strangulation scene that I had to look that part up. They had his trainer do like
pick
Just
him up.
hold him.
just like hold him
Mm,
and lower him slowly or something. And they
mhm.
choreographed it to happen like just off screen like that
Yeah,
and everything. And he was totally safe and fine the whole time.
sure,
They
of
were taking
course.
care of him. But it did look a little freaky when we
Yeah.
were watching it, like, what's going on? And
Well, I mean, again, it speaks to like these are good kills. These are very well framed shots. A little note to the
And
guy who did
and Lester
cinematography on
himself
this.
held so still. He
yes,
was
he
just
was a
like,
good boy.
Lester did a good boy. A little side note, since we're talking about the frame, the cinematographer on this did go on to work on Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh,
So yeah,
there's
little
another
throwback.
connection.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the only dog technically in this film. Another one died off screen and was eaten at least halfway by Mike Myers. That was when they were touring the house that he did the original murder of his sister in.
"Hmm."
The
Yeah, they did mention that. I have down skunk or a dog. Classic confusion.
yeah, and that was basically because Mike was chewing on it, eating it or something like that. And it comes up in a later movie down the line as one of multiple dogs that Mike kills throughout the series of 18 something movies now. But he's killed at least like 5 or 7.
Fuck off, Mike.
Yeah, he's
Jeez.
got a problem with dogs. But yeah, that's pretty much all the dog related business.
This has been Kaylin's Cruelty Hour.
Kalen's cruelty hour. You got to make it animal specific.
This is Kayla's
Kaylin's
hour of
Animal
cruelty to animals.
Cruelty Hour.
Gonna come back with a weird episode later or something. Be like, oh yeah, cruelty to children. Cruelty,
Kaylin's
I don't
Mike
know.
Myers now. Yay!
Yes.
It's the Animal Cruelty Hour.
So he jumps out, he runs up to the garage door, presses the button. You guys see this big, heavy door. You hear the whirring of clockwork stuff from up in the ceiling, which is actually the floor, I guess, but ceiling here. And this big, heavy door begins to lift up. It's got like these big teeth that you can see cut into the ground, like fully sealing it almost when it's closed. And as it begins to rise, you see like chunks of earth falling off of it. And just on the other side is a steep incline, like because this is a sub basement, so you have to actually go up a level to reach the street. You can see the earliest lights of dawn and mixed with the fires that are like burning in all the streets of Backerholt.
Under any other
illuminated
circumstance, it'd be kind of pretty.
It would be kind of pretty, yeah.
It's super dope.
Anyone who's lived through a West Coast fire definitely understands like that look of the like red sky,
The orange sky.
Hey now.
As the door begins to rise, you hear TT being like, "All right, let's do it." Bash, bash, and like he hits on the
I'm gonna hit back.
on the cab a couple times.
Harold hits on the back of the trailer, although nobody can hear it.
One of those like the farmer hanging out the back of the pickup truck. Yeah. And TT like goes, "All right." And he goes,
Oh, motherfucker.
Droughtland is a dice-governed improv adventure show set in an original diesel punk wasteland full of dinosaurs, witch cults, murder, and madmen. Featuring immersive sound design, lovingly crafted custom sound effects, and a carefully trimmed down listening experience, Droughtland offers an engaging, fast-paced adventure in a sprawling world sure to be loved by fans of actual plays and traditional audio adventures alike. Listen now wherever you catch your pods.
My overall note on this is, Lori, you need better friends, babe. I hope you have better friends in the next
Well,
movies.
I hope she has some friends because all of them got killed in this one.
Ooh, actually, the best note that I wrote, hangers are for self-defense, not healthcare. Hashtag legalize abortions.
Amen. Amen, brother. Okay, so real quick, can we talk about the fact that this Mike's Lori's older brother, which means her parents just moved like 3 blocks down the street from where their son killed their daughter.
Yeah, and just had a new
another
one.
kid. and
Literally
then-
not even 3 blocks. It's
sat on
the
it.
street like behind them.
Yeah, and then sat on it apparently for like 16 to 18
Yeah.
years, because however old Lori's supposed to be, plus however long it took them to grieve over the loss of their first daughter, and decided it was a good idea to have another one.
And the movie starts with her dad saying, "Now take this key down to the old whatever Meyer house or whatever."
Which so that was not
Yeah, that's my
originally
confusion.
was not originally part of the thing, which also gets to John Carpenter's never intended for this to be a franchise.
Well, he
Felt like
failed
the
at that.
story-
It's
Yeah, felt like the story was
How to
self-contained.
fail upwards. A
Yeah.
Halloween story.
Did anybody see when in your vast amounts of research that y'all apparently did today? Did anybody see any of the things about Mike Myers basically being the idea of a personification of evil, and the added aspects to the made-for-TV version that had to do with that?
so I did notice that the was it Loomis, the doctor guy?
Yes.
He kept going on early in the movie about how
Mhm.
he's so dark and saying like he's just the devil's eyes, these inky black pits and whatever else. I'm like,
Yes.
how fucked up is this kid? I mean, obviously he killed his sister. He's clearly very
So
deranged.
apparently the idea when adapting the script, which will you real quick look up what the name of the producer was that worked on it? Because I keep just saying John Carpenter's girlfriend, and I don't want to roll that way. She did a lot of work in the film. She was at the time John Carpenter's girlfriend. She also said,
Deborah Hill?
yes, that Lori's name is specifically like John's ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
The character's just straight named after her.
That's really funny.
So yes, so Laurie's named for an ex, but the script was written and developed with his new girlfriend. While they were developing the script from the babysitter murders, one of the things that apparently they got interested in was, let's see, I wrote it down. Sarwin. Okay, so Mike Myers, the character, which in all of the scripts was written as the Shape.
The shape.
The shape was like the shape moves to here, the shape moves to here. So
Shape of evil.
the idea is that the film is about evil personified into an individual, which is a idea at least taken in this context from Sarwin, which is shoot, I did not write down what culture Sarwin was from, but I believe it was a European culture,
How do you
perhaps
spell
Norse,
it?
something like that.
Saruman?
I believe it was Sarwen, but I'm not sure. So the idea is that Mike is this evil personified, which is why John has said he doesn't feel like Mike needed to have a reason for killing his sister at the beginning or much of a backstory or motivation, because inherently he is simply just evil, and that the story is about how evil is unescapable at times, and you just have to deal with the fact that it's coming for you. Again, this has now been explored in significantly different ways, but in a number of things from It Follows to any number of Halloween sequels to any number of whatever.
Yeah. Some of the
I,
scenes actually reminded me of It Follows.
I
And I
mean,
didn't even
yeah,
finish watching that movie.
I honestly don't think I finished watching the trailer for that movie. But I mean, like, yeah, it does lean into that idea. So, but here's my issue with that. If Mike is supposed to be Sarwin, or the personification of evil, or this whole idea of like he is just evil and evil just happens for no real good reason. Laurie is the only character that is shown in this film to be anything other than completely vile. So therefore, instead of what we're getting as, well, the kids, I guess,
One kid, because the Sam, whoever Jamie's babysitting, he's fine. Annie's kid is a turd.
yeah, but is she just like a little scamp turd, or is she like deserves to be murdered by the
I don't
personification of
know.
evil turd? I
don't
think I
know.
do. I'm pretty sure she doesn't deserve that.
It's just
I'm pretty
fine.
sure. At
She
least
sucked a lot.
not based on the
Annie was
actions we see
literally
on
like,
screen.
help, help, help. And she was just like, Kiwi.
Yeah. Well, every character in the
It was,
movie
like,
is pretty
across the
useless.
yard in the water closet or whatever.
Not for part of it. She was literally in the kitchen for part of it.
Removed or removed laundry rooms from houses is a kind of a wild. I don't know if that just whatever. It's not worth getting into, but I think that used to be more common in like
Probably.
average quote unquote middle class houses.
Yeah,
it's probably
because they were
something old.
converted from servants' quarters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting note
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of.
They
yeah.
were help quarters.
Yeah,
And
that
now
makes
the help
sense.
doesn't live there, so the tasks we don't want to do didn't live in there.
Well, anyway, as I was saying a minute ago, though, the issue that I have with the idea that Mike is the personification of evil and evil is an unstoppable force that's coming for Lori and her friends, instead what we have is here's this force that's basically, as most slasher movies are, the idea is that this is you have to sin, right? Like Cabin in the Woods is the whole archetype.
Yeah.
You have to sin to get killed by the thing, and then inherently that makes it almost a force of, no, I don't want to say good, but vengeance or justice, if you will, for this kind of perverse code of conduct
Yeah.
of like, if you have sex out of wedlock or if you get drunk as a teenager, then you're going to get killed by this thing, and this is vengeance, and it's sort of your fault.
And you
I
totally
will say
deserve
the drinking age in 1978 was 18.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
Googled
But
it.
the drinking and driving age in 1970,
That wasn't really a law then. So
no, I think it was by the 70s. I'm not totally sure though, honestly.
seat belts were barely enforced.
Yeah. But either way, I feel like what we end up with is a character that, if you want Mike to be pure evil coming at you, then the characters should be good. You should have good characters, not just Lori. And I know it's the whole archetypal thing, but if we're talking about this being like so genre defining or whatever, to me, it's got a very mixed message at its core. And I wouldn't even like sound like, oh, it's got to have this moral center to it necessarily. I just feel like it's almost a mixed message of what they're trying to say about the character, in that it's like Mike is this unstoppable force of evil. He doesn't need to have a reason why. He's just is to kill. And then also here's all these characters who are showing us behavior that, based on your kind of classic moral sort of code of conduct, are asking to be killed by their behavior, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Also, in his weird force of evil thing, throughout the movie, I was just trying to figure out what his like powers were, because he clearly seemed to have like a defined set of powers. Healing factor for sure, because he took off like 2 or 3 stabs, got shot, got
He
up
got
and kept
stabbed
going
in the face
again.
with a knitting needle. He got beat up with a what did I have? A hanger. And then my very last note says, "Okay, but how? How is he still alive and fast?
Yeah,
Limping and blind
that
in one
was
eye."
Well,
another
that
one of his
gets to
powers is he has, like, enhanced speed or something, or what I think I called it something weird, let's see, variable temporal ambulation.
okay, that's
I
the
like that.
nerdiest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, he is. He can be whatever speed he needs to be to get there. There was that one scene where he was standing underneath the clothesline. He was
The
at the
clothesline, yeah,
clothesline,
yeah, yeah, and
and
then he's just gone.
yeah, she's looking outside. She's looking at him. It cuts back to her. Cuts back to him. He's gone.
Right, well, and so that gets to my
Yeah,
first,
and she
big
look
complaint
away.
about that.
Camera cut. The camera cut.
Exactly.
She was staring into the clothesline.
She
Still.
didn't even blink, or, like, if she does, it's not shown in a way that it's like, "Oh, in the blink of an eye, he was gone." It
And
was
then
just
with the
literally
bushes, he did
same
a
deal.
Homer Simpson disappear into
Yep.
the bushes trick.
Hey,
Well, so that all gets back to the
Homer
idea that he's
Simpson
supposed to
was
be
much less sneaky.
that all gets back to the idea that he's supposed to be this unstoppable force of evil and just evil personified and all that, but I don't feel like that carries through in the rest of,
Yeah.
I don't know, the characters and whatnot.
Well, that scene at the beginning was just weird whenever they're at the mental hospital or whatever, and multiple people are apparently escaped, I guess, and he just comes flying up onto the back of the car.
Mm. Yeah, he does kind of like spider monkey land.
Yeah, it was super weird.
Can we throw that on our list of hilarious shots and otherwise not intentionally funny
Yeah.
scenes where a character is just thrown or yeets or jumps through the air? So one thing that I think John did that was really interesting, though, was since this was shot out of sequence, Jamie Lee as Lori
This
had
was
a
recorded
really
out of
hard
sequence.
time. Shut the fuck up. This was all right. Yes, hats off. This was recorded out of sequence. This is cut in from later in the episode because I thought it'd be more relevant here. Okay. All right, audience at home, are you mystified by the magic that is the production of the media you consume? Yeah. So
You just cut out what I've said.
yeah, it's funny because you're not even going to be saying.
You
I'm going to
did.
have to Abby dub all your lines. So John apparently developed a fear meter for Jamie Lee, where he would tell her, like, here's the level of fear that your
Okay.
character's meant to be at in this scene, which would allow him to keep the character consistent throughout the production, which was shot out of sequence, which
Yeah.
is
Kind of
really
That's a
genius.
really good
genius.
idea.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm hating on the movie a little for some things, but I do want to give credit where credit's due. And that's a really, really smart move. I mean, I did something similar for you guys with season 2 of Droughtland, where we were cutting back and forth. It was like, here's, sort of where your character's at in this moment. But like, to be able to just be like, oh yeah, no, give me a 7, give me an 8 on the fear scale. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very simple and elegant solve for a complicated problem.
Little pain scale, like. So, speaking of, you were just talking about one of the strong points of the movie. What about the weaker points? Because that's another thing to talk about here. 2 things. I mean, like we're talking about, it's a slasher, it's an easy plot line, stuff like that. But some of the writing there was just breathtaking incompetence of all of. I guess it's a trope too, but breathtaking incompetence of the doctor, the local cops,
Oh my gosh,
everything.
so bad. I did have a note on that. Like, the
Infuriating.
worst cop and the worst doctor in any
He's
of
like,
these
no,
movies.
don't tell anyone. Don't put out an APB on this ridiculous killer. Just, we're going to go hunt him down because he's going back to this house. Meanwhile,
Ourselves, yeah.
he just goes and murders like 4 or 5 people.
Yep. And then also you have like this literally marked vehicle that is one part of the mental
Yeah.
facilities fleet that's driving around town
Yeah, I was
all
like, isn't this
day.
a police vehicle?
And
You
so not subtly following them.
Super
Like,
not
Not even a whole car length behind them.
Yeah, just right on their bumper.
Yeah. And
And-
she notices it multiple times and then suddenly stops noticing it at all.
Yeah, she definitely stops paying attention to that, and then she stops giving a shit about all of the weird stalkery shit.
Yeah, the boogeyman. The kid couldn't. The kid infuriated me because he just screams "boogeyman, boogeyman." He doesn't explain. No, I saw someone go in the house or anything. He's
Also,
like,
what's his
"Boogeyman."
costume? Because
could
it
not figure
definitely
it
was
out.
like kind of astronaut, but then also had like a policeman's belt.
It was weird. I don't know if it was finished.
Space Enforcer.
Yeah, but the cops were not helpful finding anything.
I've literally got a note that says, "Hey, doctor and officer, shit at your job."
Yeah, he didn't even smell the weed on his daughter, which
Yeah.
like you didn't roll that window down nearly soon enough to get that smell out of the car.
No.
You roll right up on your dad. Like, I know it's the 70s, you don't have phones. First off, a lot easier to kill people. A lot easier to kill people without cell phones.
That's why we had such a ridiculous problem with serial killers in the 70s and 80s.
I mean, well,
One of the reasons.
it was the leaded
Leaded
gasoline,
gasoline.
Kaylin. It was the leaded gasoline. But like, you don't have to stop and say hi to your dad when you know you've just been smoking a blunt. Did anybody see anything about Black Christmas, 1974?
No, but I know that is a movie that exists.
Well, you only know that because I said a date after it.
No, because Becca really likes it and she knits her holiday projects to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
What
real
is
quick note on that. Real quick note on the knit thing. Laurie Strode stabs Mike Myers in the neck with a knitting needle.
Yes.
No wonder Becca likes this movie so much.
Yeah, I literally have, look at
Yeah.
you knitting. And then Jamie Lee saves the day with knitting. And later, Jamie Lee saves the day with a hanger.
And
So
then
just-
steals his own knife and stabs him like in the chest or something.
And then he gets shot like 5 times. Yeah. So that gets
Falls off
a little bit more to my statement of just like, I don't feel like this is lightning in a bottle masterpiece. I think it's a combination of a bunch of very easy to do tropes and then some well done shots that make those tropes work. And I know they weren't really tropes at the time, but they're also tropes because they're easy to do. To wit, let's see, what's it called? Dark Christmas, Black Christmas, 1974. Have not watched. Apparently, we should. But this was all but a sequel to that already. A quote unquote spiritual sequel, if you will. Although the director of Black Christmas has apparently been like, no, it was only ever inspired by. But it's like, I don't know, in the same way that like We're All Gonna Die is sort of a spiritual sequel to Wrist Cutters, a Love Story, even though no one involved in the project is actually involved in the project. It's like you could watch these two back to back and they kind of work as like a box set. And that was already the case when Halloween came out. And Black Christmas was only 4 years older. So we're talking about it being like a kind of quote unquote masterpiece, but it was basically chopping the bit of something that had just already been done. On top of that, the whole deep breathing inside the Mike Myers mask thing. I mean, this came out in 78.
No.
I will say in
Anyone think of
defense-
anything else that had deep, dramatic
I
breathing
noticed- I
from
just
its
said the
villain
Darth Vader
in the mid to late
breathe.
70s?
Yeah.
What were you going to say, babe?
What I was going to say is all these tropes are so obvious now. They were pretty new then, but that doesn't really help.
Okay, but what
I was going to say, I'm so sorry. What I was going to say, the way that people, like a movie comes out now, it's been out for a day. There's already been spoilers, costumes, references, internet posts all over the place. A movie came out in 1978. You literally had to go see it, like go physically see it before you saw anything about it.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
And so I feel
Or you
like,
saw like a poster.
yeah,
or-
and I feel like some of it is just the inundation is so much lower that
Absolutely,
like people would
yeah.
make something that had the same trope, but it's like,
Mm.
oh, well, I didn't catch that
Yeah.
one, so I didn't know.
But that is inherently part of the question of this show is like, okay, but we unfortunately do now live in a reality where we get AI slop videos of TikToks that last 15 seconds and people don't even want to finish those.
Yeah.
So one of the questions we're trying to answer is sort of, is this worth watching now? And I don't think that this movie personally for me hits that mark in the same way that an uncut version of 2001: A Space Odyssey doesn't, even though that's way, way, way more my thing. And I have a lot more like love and respect for all the beauty of that production than I ever would for the production of any slasher, even this one. But that said, they're both passion projects. They're both made by wonderful teams of filmmakers. The guy that played Mike was apparently just a friend of John Carpenter's who came to set and was like,
Yeah,
hey,
who
I
did
need you to
play
stand
him?
in. So it was a conglomeration of different people.
Sure.
One of them was a friend of John Carpenter's who came to set and they were like, hey, we need someone to stand in while we do test shots. And then
We
he
basically
was
need
like,
you to be tall and wear this jumpsuit.
yeah, exactly. And then John was like, hey, walk from here to there. And everyone was like, wow, he walked really creepy. And so they was like, what if you just continued to walk really creepy? Because that's all Mike does in this movie.
Yeah.
We literally never see your face, and
Yeah.
it, like will shoot some stuff with your mask just over the camera lens.
Yep. Well, and so to that, the couple different things. The one that we see on set, or the one whose face we see for the very brief shot that we see his face, that was also a named actor who signed on for the role, but wasn't, I guess, a lot of the stab action. And then the kid was another actor that they had that signed on for the role, but was apparently not around until the end of production. So they had also shot the rest of that sequence without him.
That's why it was
The
tall.
the point of views from inside the Mike Myers mask at the very beginning were shot by and using the hands of Debbie Hill,
Okay.
the
That's why they
producer,
look
and John Carpenter's
smaller.
girlfriend.
Okay.
Right. So was too tall to be a 5-year-old or whatever. Correct, because it was a like 28-year-old woman.
Yeah.
But then they cut.
She could have been on her knees or something. Is all I'm saying.
Well, I get it, and she was for part of that. That sequence was shot basically uncut, and they choreographed it and apparently shot it a ton of times. In my opinion, easily the strongest part of the movie. That said, it's one of those like, man, someone else was going to do it like 3 years later. Because it gets to like literally the technology they used had just kind of come out. It was this rolling camera mount that you could use to get these still shots, and you could affect your camera in real time. Or it was basically one of the first steady rigs is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Not to
Oh
nerd
yeah, they
too
were.
much, but yeah,
Was
I
it on
think
a track?
It was the Panavision or whatever.
Panavision, yeah,
They
yeah.
talked about it or mentioned it in the credits. I kept saying like they're talking about this Panavision or whatever it was called, Pana something, and I was like, I've never heard of that before. What is
Panasonic.
that? Not Panasonic, but yes.
So I didn't get to do the research into whether or not this is true that I wanted to, but I saw that one of the guys that played Mike for a portion of it, the production designer who specifically played him in the closet scene, went on to direct The Last Starfighter.
Huh. So you also talked about the sound earlier, the low budget or not
Yeah.
low budget, low time that he
Yeah,
did.
like 3 days he had, and like
Yeah.
all he had was a synthesizer. He did not have an orchestra or anything.
And he did some good things with it, but there was
Yeah.
other times where the sound design in this movie was just infuriating me.
I would argue it's not the composition, it's the mixing. It's
Mixing, yeah.
yes.
But even on that, I was gonna say one of my first notes is this is an excellent soundtrack. Like, there's a lot of really
Mhm.
creepy music
Yeah.
that I wonder if this was the first movie that a lot of it was used in.
I'm not kidding that today at work, I had a girl whose cell phone went off and it was the Halloween thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I literally
Like
was like,
the initial song, of course, iconic as being for Halloween, but the amount of just like spooky, rad 70s tunes that were also
Yeah,
being
that's
played
true.
in the background, really killer soundtrack,
There
in
was
my
some
opinion.
good stuff, but there was also a few of those times where it's just ear
If I hear that
grating,
high violin
the high
tone
pitch,
one more
Yeah.
time, I'm gonna actually start
stabbing me in
bleeding
the
from my eyes.
eardrum.
Poor Doggo Baby did not love it.
No, our dog
No.
freaking
But
hated it.
beyond the music, there was a few other times where it was just like you guys didn't use probably I don't know if that was the best take or you didn't have the best equipment for a couple of those. And I know, like we said, lower budget, but
And just the equipment of the time. I mean,
equipment of the
it
time.
was
So there was apparently
78.
also something about the composition time frame where it was like the executives had just seen a cut and they were like, well, we need a cut with the sound. He only had like 3 days
Yeah.
to get the soundtrack on before the executives saw the cut and would decide if the movie went through.
Yeah.
So it was like make it or break it time, and he delivered what he could. This also gets into my like, if we're gonna do anything with AI, can we have it like remix audio levels so that we can not be
Not have those
absolutely
violent highs and
Yeah.
lows.
just a slight little, I don't want it to take control or creative control, but just like smooth it out so that we don't, when I'm not sitting here in my living room with a 37 billion frequency thing driving my dog crazy,
Yeah.
and also then can't hear the dialogue of the movie.
Right.
Like and I don't know, that's all.
It was like everybody plug their ears.
Yeah.
That was my best theremin impression.
Fucking comics, am I right though? Lori's popping through all these comics with the boy. And she's like, "This one? No. This one? No.
Superman, Garbage
This
Man,
one?
Tarantula
Snowy
Man.
Man, Tarantula
I wanted to
Man.
learn more about Tarantula Man.
Tarantula Man. Yeah, I want to fucking read Tarantula
I
Man.
think that's just a Spider-Man spinoff, you guys.
But tarantulas aren't really good at making webs.
There is also
So he's not going to have
tarantula is definitely.
his thwip thwip.
he throws the
It's gonna
little
be about
spiny
strength.
hairs.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, spiny hairs, yeah.
The little spiny hairs that
Yeah.
like shoot into your eyes.
They're also not even really like they're good climbers. All spiders are, but like they're not exactly like the like hang on the ceiling. Well, I guess they are.
I don't know. Like
They have
the
barbed feet. They're pretty.
tarantulas we have around here, I don't know how much they climb, but some of those like bird-eating tarantulas down in South America and stuff, those can
Yeah.
just climb.
I mean, my dad had like I think 4 different tarantulas when I was growing up, and they would hang out on the top of their cages, and they were
Huh.
like plastic or glass.
But it does matter what class. Joe and Ash know a lot more about this than me, but like what class of tarantula, because like the
Yeah.
New World tarantulas are more like dexterous and can climb and stuff. And then the older ones are like the fluffier ones.
Mm.
And it just depends on like the order, I guess. I don't know, spider words.
Speaking of tarantulas and spiders, the trapdoor spider just brings me back to no one locks their fucking doors in this movie. They don't close
No,
doors.
they
Yes.
barely close doors. All the windows are open. I know this is like a 70s
Breeze
thing,
just
but
flowing
like for
through.
real, how many places did Bundy have to break into before y'all started locking your fucking doors?
Also, the deadbolts in the 70s were tiny. Y'all clock that? Like they were all
No.
the little tiny deadbolts for the inside doors
Yeah,
that
it's
we
the
have
kind
now.
that have like the 3/4 inch
Yeah.
screws holding it
Huh.
in place.
Little well, and like the little like they weren't they were only locked from the inside. I noted that they were only locked from the inside and they were the like single turn handle style that you'd have on like a cabinet
Huh.
now. Or like I guess a really, really old interior door. I know people probably listen to this being like, I was alive in the 70s, y'all are babies, and I get that, but like, man, that is wild. They
And
were
what's
very
really
small.
funny is like the outside doors had those really small deadbolts, but then it seemed like every closet he tried to break into was like a fucking fortress.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How?
He just blows through doors like left, right, center,
Oh.
and then like
I
here's this
literally have a
closet
note written
door.
down that was like, "That's a strong ass
He
closet
like
lock."
wraps the sleeve of a sweater or something around the inside handle, and then he
Knitting
can't
saves the
open
day
it.
again.
He's just like shaking the closet door.
Every single thing that I like researched, every source that I researched today was like the iconic closet scene. That iconic closet scene. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I just genuinely was like that scene. I kind of thought that scene sucked.
It was so long.
It
It took
was
so long
really
for nothing to
long.
happen.
A lot of jiggling and
Slow.
suspense.
Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle.
And I know it's like, okay, we've seen this a trillion times now. So I get, again, trying to remove that aspect and be like, is this inherently good? I still don't think it was that. I think it was clunky.
Yeah.
I think it was a clunky delivery of that scene.
Yeah.
There's just a billion ways I feel like I could have done it better. And even with, you're sitting there at home being like, oh, this asshole, like, give me what John had. You give me what John had. I guarantee you I can make that scene work better. That's all. Just ragey about it a little bit. All right, I'm going to speed run the rest of my notes. Same opening music as World War Z. That's not a note on Halloween. That's a note on World War Z. Yo.
Update your shit, bro.
No, it's just like, what the fuck is that? Like, this is on me.
They chose a spooky.
They did. They just like chose to put like, oh, this was very creepy. Let's make this slightly different and put it on there.
And something that like, if you are a continual hardcore horror fan,
Yeah.
that sound would elicit.
Yeah, it immediately was like,
Ear
oh, this
response.
is gonna be, yeah, it's just, yeah, and I get it, but that's cheap. It honestly makes me sad because I do like World War Z as a film. It's complicated. It's not as good as the book. It's not the same as the book, but you know what? It's enjoyable on its own.
That's not our baby that we're talking about tonight.
It's not what we're talking about
that baby
tonight.
today.
And listen, they hacked off when you have a severed limb, when you have an infected limb, rather, when you have an infected limb, much like
Herschel.
no, what's her name? Not
Herschel.
Herschel. I'm talking about World War Z.
I'm talking about an infected zombie limb that gets cut off in an appropriate period of time.
Yes, me too. The girl from World War Z that he cuts off the hand of with the machete.
The
My point
soldier.
is the soldier. Yes, my point is when you have an infected limb, you cut it off. And World War Z had the balls to cut off the final act of that movie and grow a new one. And that is why I respect it. Kalen's looking at me like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about it off mic if you're not aware of
I don't know if I've seen that one or not.
the completely different version. So, speaking of different versions, though, that brings us back to, did any of you guys see about the released for TV version
No.
of Halloween? Okay.
How? Also, weren't TV guides like way less strict then? Stricter. Less strict? I don't know. People were on Quaaludes and real cocaine.
So it was a lot stricter back then, for sure. One of the things, it aired on TV a couple years later, or like the next year. In order to fit a 2-hour time slot, because as we noticed last night, it's only an hour and 25.
Yeah.
They had to shoot additional scenes.
What the
So to fit it
fuck?
into a 2-hour time slot, which would make it more profitable to air on TV because they could fit more commercials in,
Yeah.
they had to film additional scenes. They were currently in production on Halloween 2. So they brought back the kid who played Mike, and they shot a scene where the professor, the doctor, meets him. And then they shot a scene where the doctor meets in front of a board for the Mental Health Institute and is like, this kid has got to be put away for life. And then they shot some extra shit with Lori and her friends. And they
Okay.
plugged it all in. And so there is an alternate version with all of this stuff floating out there. I'm sure it's very, very easy to find. And honestly, I'm surprised that we didn't end up watching that one because it sounds like it had some scenes that were interesting,
Yeah.
considering that they helped to develop and flesh out the background of the story a little bit, which again gets back to, it was intentionally left ambiguous or whatever because he's the manifestation of evil.
Yeah.
I just don't, not my favorite. Anyway, on that, I love the Michael's around someplace. Just, where's Michael? Oh, Michael's around someplace. There is an alternate universe where I feel like this is Sigourney Weaver's iconic role.
Yeah.
And similarly, Ripley is Jamie Lee Curtis's iconic role.
Where
And
they
that-
just trade.
Where they just, I feel like there was just
And
right
now
for
you can
both
see
of
it
them.
on Sora AI. No, sorry.
Yeah, now, yes, yeah, brought to you by. But also that gets to like why Jamie Lee was in this to begin with, which is that she auditioned, but they noted that her mom was Lady from Psycho. So then she got that. And on the other hand,
Was this Jamie Lee's like big break?
this was her premiere. Yeah,
This was her like
this was
debut.
introducing Jamie Lee
basically.
Curtis. Yeah. And conversely to that, and also I think Sigourney's a couple years older because
Yeah.
she's a little older.
What
but
rhymes with Sigourney?
Sigourney auditioned for the role that was cast gender blind, and Ripley was written gender blind, and I don't know how much of the
Interesting.
casting for that was done gender blind truly, but it was at least all the way through the casting process before they considered a male character or a female character or a male character. And apparently the original writers of the script were surprised when they went with a female because they kind of always low-key thought it would be a guy just because Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then we got Ripley, arguably the most badass female in all of cinema history, or at least one of the most iconic.
Yeah.
So there's definitely an interesting world where this is just whoop. So
Flip flop.
they
So-
also both, as I noted last night, have the exact same face as they do now.
Yes.
It's the exact same face.
We did have
They
a
aged-
comment on that.
They've
just-
aged around it, but the face is the same. Yeah.
I just did a fun Gurgle, and it turns out that both Meryl Streep and Helen Mirren were considered for Ripley,
Huh.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
and that's
Ripley interesting.
Ripley interesting.
Mm.
And Meryl
Believe it
Streep
or
was
not.
considered heavily, but she was not contacted as her partner had just recently died.
Oh.
Which
Well,
is
that's sad.
Crazy to think that her partner died that long ago.
That was Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep's.
That's
Mhm.
really, truly
Yeah.
sad.
And that Helen Mirren also auditioned.
My last note is using a phone used to require flair. Did you see all that sass that Jamie Lee had when she goes to call? She like
I wrote
throws
down,
the receiver
man,
on her
I
shoulder.
miss a long telephone
Right.
cord.
Yeah.
I would literally sit
And
at
she
my
could
like
just, like, dials
computer
with both
area
hands.
and like twirl. We had a phone at our computer desk, our like family computer desk. And so I would just like sit and swivel and like wrap myself in the cord. It was a mess. I fucked that thing up so many times.
Well, and just it's better in your hand too than these modern little
Yeah.
slabs.
I miss the long cord. I also we can put this note way earlier if we edit this, but I said in 1978, hot girls have frizzy hair and smoke, and I miss that.
So we didn't bring up a specific scene, a specific uh, quote from one weird part of the movie. If you remember, the other friend.
Yeah,
the
I
other
definitely
friend
had
and
that written down.
the
So,
boy,
but when Annie's boyfriend, or no,
no,
the
other girl,
Totalie's boyfriend, I don't remember. I named her Totally.
Linda, I think.
Linda's boyfriend is like,
You can rip my clothes off, and I can rip your clothes
"Whose
off, and then we
clothes
can
are
rip off the
Lindsay's clothes.
Lindsay's
clothes.
clothes."
And it's like,
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's the person you're babysitting?
That's
Yeah,
the
it's definitely
8-year-old that
Very
you're
clearly a
babysitting.
child? What did they mean by that?
Well, I think it's just a bad joke that would not make it to the final cut now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, here's my note. Then we rip off Lindsay's clothes. Isn't she like 8 years old? So yeah, all in all, I maintain my, well, I'll maintain my 7.5 bloody knives. I think were it not for this movie, we would not have a lot of the things we have today. And I think it was good overall. Jamie Lee Curtis was 80% of that.
I agree with that.
And the little boy, the
Yeah.
kid boy
and-
was pretty good.
Oddly, the doctor, but only at times.
Yeah.
Like for portions of
And
it. I
other
was like,
times he's just standing in the street going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very swingy. You have
Yeah.
either good moments.
"You kids,
and
get
then
away from that
low
bush.
moments.
Sir, you're in the bush."
that truck or the car was arguably parked like really close to him for like potentially
A
Hours.
pretty
long
long
time.
time.
Literally
Yeah.
just
half a block away. And he's like,
Finally looks in that direction like, oh,
I
that's the
didn't
car.
bother to do a circle of the block.
Also, a moment of silence for the mechanic, Phelps.
Yeah.
We hardly
Oh,
knew you.
Oh,
Phelps.
yeah.
Just dead in a ditch.
That's what
Whoops.
happens when Brad Pitt takes his mom for a ride on his new bike.
And there you have it, kids. Cool World, a movie.
Also, in the pre-show part, I said I thought I had seen this before. I have no idea what Halloween I was thinking of. It wasn't the first one.
Was it
Okay.
Halloween Town?
I don't know.
It's a way different. Halloween Town is
Then it wasn't
so.
that.
How do
No.
you confuse 28
different.
days with
Well,
28,
28 days
later?
later.
Yeah.
No, I very clearly remember, I think, Mike Myers like running
This is Michael Myers.
like running in the daytime after somebody, and I don't know
Running in the
I would-
daytime.
who
I
or
would
when.
from Shia LaBeouf. I would imagine
No.
that has happened. I would imagine that has happened in one of the movies since then. I will also say that
The
was one of the
18
specific
plus
things
movie?
that they like did not want Mike to ever do was to ever run because they were like, evil doesn't
Well, I don't know
run,
if he was
evil
running
just is.
necessarily, if he was just like swift walking because
Yeah.
he can do that since he's enormous. Like he's a
Yeah, have
big
you ever
guy.
been my size and
He's
tried to keep
big.
up with you people?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I did mention a minute ago the Lost Halloween game. Okay, so
Mhm.
apparently in the early 80s, late 70s, something like that, there was a Halloween game made where you played as a babysitter trying to hide from a serial killer. And
Okay.
it is like the top down, 8-bit 70s era. But he would like appear at the edge of the map and like walk towards you, and then you were trying to like get your babysitting
Romero?
kids off the map before he got to you, kind of a thing, right?
Hmm.
It was so quote unquote violent and and like people didn't want their kids playing it and everything. And there were very few, if any, games based on like R-rated horror movies at the time. Most games didn't even involve an element of death. So a lot of game stores apparently would sell it under the counter, and the company that made it, one, was not able to ever use Mike Myers' name or Laurie's name, so they do
Hmm.
not appear, and therefore it is potentially not officially a game. However, they packaged and released like the first run of cartridges with an official label for Halloween, and then the rest were released with a label sticker and a handwritten name that just said Halloween on it. So like
Nice.
there was a good chance that if you didn't buy the first run, that was the only version you were ever going to get. And
Yeah.
as a result, it became like kind of an early
Lost
lost
media
game.
type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
Neat.
imagine if I Googled it, it's very easy to find now. But I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was apparently that was a thing.
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
also it premiered in KC. Just a random
Kansas
side note.
City,
Apparently,
or
yeah.
Kansas.
I mean, does it matter? They're the same town. Don't let them tell you anything different. One genuinely does smell worse, though. I won't
Dude,
say
it
which
was
one
so
it is.
noticeable.
The second you hit
The
the
GPS
state,
said welcome to, and I went, it smells like shit.
it genuinely does. The entire state. Sorry,
Oh.
we live next to you, and we can tell you your entire
Was it
state.
like cow
I
manure?
literally told my friend that if she was going to go on a road trip through this state, that she or her girlfriend should endeavor to be asleep for the entire thing because it ruins relationships.
It's true.
Wow. It definitely is iconic.
How
Sets
many
up a
out
lot
of how many
stuff.
bloody knives?
5. One fist holding a big bloody knife.
A big bloody knitting needle.
I didn't get a lot out of it. 5
I'm going to
fingers.
do the exact opposite. I
You're
gave
going
it a
up.
5, I think, in the beginning, and I'm going to switch it to a 6.
All right.
And largely because I do think that it did a good job developing these motifs for use later. I do really stand by, though. I think a different director, a different team, a different iconic slasher character could have very quickly and would have very quickly done exactly essentially this movie.
But it didn't. This did.
Right. And that's again why I hats off to it. But it's all timing and it's all your ability. The smaller the scale of the project, the smaller the scale of the story, the easier it is, the lower the difficulty of adapting to failure. So if you're on set for The Island of Dr. Moreau, you're shooting in like South Africa, South America, something like that, 100,000 miles away from the rest of the studio. You've got the team you've got your local resources, and you find out one of your actors has food poisoning. How do you recover from that if you've already shot portions of your film with that actor, or if it's just Oscar or not, if it's shoot, what's his name?
David Thewlis.
Thank you. If it's David Thewlis, or if it's Marlon Brando and you're on set and one of them gets sick or something like that happens, right? How do you recover from that? The scope of what you've bitten off to chew is so big that all you're left with is you got to chew it or it's going to choke you. The scale of one guy stabs a bunch of teenagers in 2 houses in suburban America is so manageable. Well, do you remember the behind the scenes footage that we watched for Babylon AD, Liz?
I do need a refresher.
So you remember like when Vin Diesel like stepped up to the whole cast and was like,
Oh my God,
we
yeah.
don't,
And like gave this super
this whole
impassioned
speech
speech.
and was like, we're showing up on set and we don't know what scenes we're shooting. We're showing up on set and we don't know what, like, if costumes are
And
ready.
it was like a rage against management.
And like, yeah, it was this whole thing. And then it turns out like the director had such a hard time producing that movie from like this passion idea that he produced a documentary about the production of the movie just so that he could be like, yo, I tried really fucking hard to make this good and it wasn't. And here's why. And like they had these, they had a bike gang basically show up to play these bikers, and they had to have custom bikes and custom helmets on every single one of them. And they found out like 2 weeks before they were able to shoot this that they weren't going to be able to produce the custom helmets like at all. They had to fucking bounce back from that and still shoot the scene because they had built this tiny square village, right? And again, this gets to budgetary constraints. I'm sure John would have loved to be able to build himself a village or whatever if he had had the money. But it comes down to like, the more that you try to achieve with this budget, the harder it is to adapt to losses. And this is so bottom of the barrel for that to me. It's like your main guy could get shot or arrested and you could go back
And
to
you could
filming the
literally,
next day.
they had how many mics?
At least 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like your
Plus,
main guy could
not
literally
counting the
die.
kid. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This is just my angry. I've tried to do independent film and it costs a lot and you have to adjust and you have to adapt. So my final note would be 6 out of 10. And should you catch up on this classic? No. Go watch like any episode of any show that's ripped it off and done it probably better. Go watch.
Scooby-Doo.
I mean, yeah, probably
I
Scooby
don't know about
Doo.
Scooby-Doo, but okay.
Have you seen Zombie Island?
No.
Get out of my life then,
I
Caitlin.
believe, wow. I'm so sorry, but it is Monster Island.
Everybody fuck off, okay? I saw some secret penguins today. Who cares?
I think that will do it for us today. Anybody have anything they want to take us out on?
Jamie Lee is a good babysitter.
Jamie Lee is a good babysitter. She's the only good babysitter.
The only
in
good
town.
She was
babysitter
the
in
best
this whole thing.
babysitter in that movie for
Yep.
sure.
The moral of this story is do your job babysitting the kid that you were tasked to babysit. Don't say weird things sexualizing them, and you might live.
No.
Thank you and good night.